This is the epic 3,000-year-old Ethiopian history. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2 yet, you can find them in my page. We talked about the kingdom of Damat and the Aksumite Empire in the first 2 parts. This is part 3. That being said, let's get to it. After the kingdom of Aksum faded, a new dynasty took the torch, one that would leave behind a spiritual wonder carved in stones, the Zagwe dynasty. The Zagwe ruled Ethiopia from the 10th to the 13th century, with their capital city being in the Lasta region. Though smaller than Aksum, they were mighty in faith. The most legendary king, King Lalibela, dreamed of a new Jerusalem in Ethiopia. So he carved 11 churches directly into the ground, out of a solid volcanic rock, in the 12th century, by hand, without any technology. That's amazing. He wanted to recreate the new Jerusalem in Ethiopia so that Christians in his kingdom could make a pilgrimage without traveling to the Holy Land. This was especially important after the Muslim forces captured Jerusalem in the 12th century, making pilgrimage dangerous for Christians during that time. Also, the holy city that could unite the people during a time of political and religious divisions. Each church is a masterpiece, connected by tunnels, passages, and symbolically aligned to biblical meanings. The complex is divided into 2 main groups, plus 1 church set apart, separated by a symbolic river Jordan, where Jesus Christ was baptized by John the Baptist. The first group of church symbolizes earthly Jerusalem. This represents pilgrimage sites and holy places from the earthly life of Jesus Christ. The first church is called Beta Medhanialim, House of the Savior of the World. The largest monolithic church in the world, symbolizes the Church of St. Mary of Zion in Aksum and the Christ's eternal saving power. The second church is called Beta Mariam, House of Mary. The most ornate, dedicated to the Virgin Mary, represent her as the spiritual mother of Ethiopia. The third church is called Beta Golgotha Michael, House of Golgotha and St. Michael. Holds tombs, possibly Lalibela's own, symbolizes Golgotha, where Jesus Christ was crucified. The fourth one is called Beta Meskel, House of the Cross, linked to the discovery of the true cross by Saint Helena, represent victory of the cross over death. The fifth one is called Beta Danagel, House of the Virgins, honors 40 murdered virgins of Christian traditions. The second group symbolizes heavenly Jerusalem. This points to the spiritual and eternal city awaiting believers, which is heaven. The sixth church is called Beta Gabriel and Raphael, House of Saint Gabriel and Saint Raphael, possibly served as Lalibela's royal palace before being converted to the church use, symbolizes the angelic guardians of the God's kingdom. The seventh church is called Beta Mercurius, House of Mercurius, dedicated to a Roman soldier saint whom was unalived because of his faith, symbolizes the victory of faith over persecution. The eighth church is called Beta Emmanuel, meaning God is with us, of Emmanuel. Tradition says it was the royal family's private church. The ninth church is called Beta Kedus Libanus, House of Saint Libanus. The ninth church is called Beta Kedus Libanus, House of Saint Libanus, honors a 4th century saint who devoted his life to God. The 10th church is called Beta Lehem, House of the Bread, symbolizes Bethlehem, where Jesus Christ was born. The isolated church, Beta Georgis, House of St. George, shaped like a perfect cross, curved deep into the ground, the most beautiful one, symbolizes perfection and the path to heaven. Some even have underground baptism pools still being used today. It's UNESCO's World Heritage Site, still in use after 900 years. The Zagwe dynasty didn't last long though. In the 13th century, it was overthrown by the returning royal bloodline that claimed descent from the Queen of Sheba. From stone came phase. From phase came a new dynasty. Follow for part 4. We are going to talk about the return of the Solomonic dynasty. Like, comment, share if you enjoy these videos. Peace.